All right, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. My name is Ellen Taverna. I'm the policy officer for the ARC of Massachusetts. As many of you know, the ARC of Massachusetts is a disability advocacy group, and we're dedicated to enhancing the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism, and their family. Before I introduce our MC for today's event, I'm just going to run through some logistical items. This is our first time running the legislative reception in a virtual webinar format, so please excuse the inevitable hiccups we may have today. We wanted to make this virtual reception as accessible as possible. We're so pleased to have a Spanish translator with us today. His name is Carlos Olive, who will be translating. Or to listen to the webinar in Spanish, please click on the globe looking icon, which is in your settings panel or toolbar, which may be at the top or bottom of your screen. You can click on the globe icon and click either Spanish or English and then mute original audio. The instructions will also be in the chat box as well. As you can see, we also have an ASL interpreter providing sign language throughout the webinar, as well as closed captioning available in English. And if you would like to have a Spanish translation of the closed captioning, please click on the link in the chat box and follow the instructions. We'll be keeping attendees muted until the end of the webinar, but if you have any questions or comments, please provide them in the chat box and we'll have staff monitoring that. Our event is currently streaming live on Facebook and we have staff monitoring comments there as well. And finally, we ask that legislators and state agency officials to please put your names and titles in the chat box or comment on Facebook, so we'll know that you're here with us today. And now I'm delighted to introduce Lauren Beckham Falcone, who is our MC for today. Lauren is an on-air co-host on WROR 105.7 FM's The ROR Morning Show. Before discussing current events on the airwaves, she wrote about them for 17 years for the Boston Herald, where she was an award-winning reporter and columnist. Lauren is an honorary board member of the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress and a graduate of the Mass Families Leadership Series and a longtime friend to MDDC and the ARC of Massachusetts. She lives in Canton with her husband, Dave, and their daughter, Lucy. We're so grateful to have Lauren with us today. Go ahead and kick it off. Thank you so much. Do we have Lauren on with us? So not sure.
Ellen, she may have lost connection, so yeah. we're hoping to get her back in.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead with Lauren's script, and just whenever she joins, we'll have her work out. We'll have her. We'll just have her speak when she joins us. So thank you so much for joining us today for the 43rd annual and first virtual legislative reception hosted by the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council and the ARC of Massachusetts.
Here she is, Ellen.
All right.
She got back on. She got reconnected. Welcome back. Go ahead.
So sorry. Now I'm on my.
It's okay.
I don't have the fancy background, but
this is our hiccup. So
okay,
we got it over with. Now we're done.
Okay, good. So did you already introduce me?
I did. You're good to go.
Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging on for me and also for joining us today for the 43rd annual and first virtual legislative reception hosted by the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council and the ARC of Massachusetts. You know, each year we gather in March. It's my favorite time of year to celebrate Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. This is my 4th year moderating this legislative reception the first virtually, so I'm here. And I'm especially pleased to be here as the mother of a child with Down syndrome, my 17-year-old daughter, Lucy, although she tells everybody she's still 16. She's lying about her age. I've taught her well. Lucy has changed my life in so many great and unexpected ways. You know, she made me a mom, which was a hard-fought dream come true for me. She's made me grateful, inspired, and awed all the time. Spending all this time with her in sort of lockdown has been really a joy. She's opened a whole new world for me, filled with perseverance, gratitude, and joy, and a world that includes obviously all of you. And I've made so many good friends through Lucy. As Ellen mentioned, our event is currently streaming live on Facebook. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, our event's hashtags are MALEGREC 2021, MALEGREC 2021, and Equity for IDD to spread the word. Also, any reminder for any legislator or agency official who you would like to announce yourself, please type your name in the title in the chat box. And first of all, it's my complete pleasure to introduce the new chair of the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council Public Policy Committee and my friend, Angela Ortiz. Angela Ortiz, I love so much, and she is the proud mom and tireless advocate of beautiful Ayla, who I follow on Facebook. She has a disability and is medically fragile. Angela is the founder of the statewide grassroots coalition, the Massachusetts Pediatric Home Nursing Care Campaign, a former Lend Fellow at the Eunice Kennedy Shriver Center at UMass Medical School, and recently earned a second master's degree in public administration at Suffolk University. She's amazing. Known to be a catalyst for change and a positive disruptor, I love that term, her passion and dynamic leadership will serve our community so well for what lies ahead. Angela delivered a powerful keynote address at our 2019 legislative reception. I remember it well, and we're happy to welcome her back. Angela will deliver our opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Mass Developmental Disability Council and the Arc of Mass, I welcome you to the 43rd Annual Legislative Reception. It's really an honor for me to be here today with you, and really every day. I love to be surrounded by this community. I'm honored to be a part of it with my daughter Ayla, and we have important work to do collectively together. So I'm grateful that you're all joining us today. Just a little background for those of you who don't know, the MDDC Council is an independent agency funded by the federal government, and we work with the Commonwealth of Mass to really better support people with developmental disabilities and their families. We serve as an impartial educational resource that really shines a light on your stories and experiences for policymakers at both the federal and state level. We believe that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities must have the opportunity to live full, productive, and independent lives in the community. I'd like to take a moment to both acknowledge and thank Executive Office of Health and Human Services Secretary Mary Lou Sutters, Senate President Karen Spilka, and Speaker of the House Ron Mariano for participating with us and hearing our collective voices. I'd also like to congratulate today's awardees, our legislators of the year, Senator Michael Rodrigues and Representative Josh Cutler, who are true champions for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families in the legislature. And you'll hear more about their tremendous work soon. The theme of this year's reception is equity in the face of uncertainty, moving forward together. The Council and the ARC share a strong belief that the greatest impact on public policy for our community occurs through your self-advocacy. This event is one opportunity out of many to educate your elected officials about how policies, legislation, positions, the yay or nay vote on the floor affects your daily lives and your rights. At the end of this program, I encourage you to reach out to your legislators in both the House and the Senate They need to know who you are and what matters to you in order to be awakened to your reality. Equitable access to healthcare, education, community-based services, housing, employment, our workforce, the list goes on, starts with an email, a phone call, a conversation from you. Our legislators must hear from not one of us, but all of us, in order to be the collective force we need to be for meaningful and sustainable change to happen. And that change promises to improve lives, not only for people with disabilities and their families, but for society as a whole. I want to thank the elected officials who are with us, their legislative aides and state agency representatives. Most of all, thank you to members of this community. Each one of you continue to show up and share your personal stories, despite the immense barriers and inequities you and your families encounter across the lifespan. What is profound and awe-inspiring is the resilience and determination of this community. And I know that this will continue to be a shared source of fuel as we move forward together. It is my pleasure to introduce Secretary Mary Lou Sutters of the Executive Office of Health and Human Services. Secretary Sutters first trained as a professional social worker and served as the commissioner of the Department of Mental Health. She has been on numerous government commissions and committees, led a well-respected human services organization, and taught at Boston College. The Council and the ARC especially appreciate Secretary Sutter's background as a direct support staff member during the early days of deinstitutionalization. We are grateful for her leadership on behalf of people with disabilities and their families during the COVID-19 pandemic, and she continues to be responsive to the needs of our community. Here is Secretary Sutters with today's greeting and the proclamation announcing March as Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Month.
Everyone, to my good friends at the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council, to the ARC of Massachusetts, to all who've gathered today, thank you for that kind invitation. And thank you, Warren, for that introduction. First and foremost, thank you for what you do on behalf of individuals with different abilities, to advocate for their needs, to make sure families get the supports they need and their loved ones the support that they need in order to thrive each and every day. This past year has been an extraordinary challenge. We know that. But we've stayed together, we've worked together, we've worried together, we've found opportunity together. Your efforts are absolutely critical to enhancing the lives of individuals we serve and who are your loved ones, so that they have opportunity even during a time of pandemic. And it's really important to acknowledge the needs and the supports of families and caregivers. There are more than 40,000 families that comprise the community of individuals with different abilities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You let your voices be heard. Your resilience, your creativity, your nimbleness, and yes, your patience has been remarkable. And despite an extremely challenging year, we've had a few positive milestones. Once again, we ensured that the Turning 22 class was supported, filed by the governor, and completely endorsed by our colleagues in the legislature. The governor signed Nikki's Law, an important step in protecting your loved ones from abuse and neglect. Very important milestone, and I really applaud advocates and our colleagues in the legislature for finding common ground in passing that very important piece of legislation. And we delivered a significant rate increase for the 15,000 direct care support professionals who work in our long-term adult services residential programs across the Commonwealth. Together, we are in this. In response to the pandemic, we have tried to be flexible, giving the services and support so that staff can support your loved ones and clients in the best possible way. Please know that, and we will continue to work together. It has been a hard year, and we know that vaccines are the hope for the future. We were very proud in Massachusetts where we took a different path around vaccines. And in our phase 1, as I think all of you know, but just to remind us, that our phase 1 prioritized our congregate care programs, from our larger state facilities to our smaller group homes, state operated and state financed. And those were among the very first to be vaccinated, staff and residents. Please know that it has always been important to us to support individuals with different abilities and disabilities in Massachusetts. I want to give a shout out to 2 very special legislators, and I know that they're going to be joined by the Speaker of the House for Representative Cutler and Senate President Karen Spilka for State Senator Mike Rodrigues. These gentlemen always carry your issues to heart. They never trade them off, and they have worked time in and time out, day in and day out, for the issues that you care so deeply about. So to Representative Cutler, congratulations for being the State Representative of the Year, and to Senator Mike Rodrigues, congratulations for your award as Legislator of the Year with the Developmental Disabilities Council and the Mass Arc. We work well together, we work hand in hand together on behalf of all individuals with disabilities in our Commonwealth. Thank you, take care. I hope this virtual day comes together in the way that's important to all of you, and I look so forward to being present, truly present with you in the future. And as we all know, it is my honor on behalf of Governor Baker to announce a special proclamation. March is Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and every month in the Commonwealth should be Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Thank you for having me. I'm Mary Lou Sutters.
Thank you, Secretary Sutters, for joining us today and your leadership along with Governor Baker. I think we're going to put up the proclamation, right? I think so. Look at that. There it is. That's great. Okay, I think, oh, here we go. All right, so I'm just making sure my computer works. Let's do this. All right. I'm so pleased to introduce our keynote speakers today, Evan and Julie Messina, who I have known for many, many years, and I'm so excited. Evan is 16 years old. Wow, I can't believe it. He's born and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where he still lives with his parents and 2 sisters. He's currently a sophomore at Cambridge Rindge and Latin School, where his favorite subject is media technology. Maybe you could help me with my Zoom sometimes. In his first internship last summer, he worked as a content producer for Cambridge Community Television, CCTV, and he made his videos about teen life. He has a passion for space exploration and was selected to be a space Camp Scholar at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in 2019. He hopes one day to work in media relations for the space industry, and he loves sharing about his life and as an Operation House Call co-teacher to medical students. He happens to have Down syndrome, and Evan and his mother, Julie, are here today to discuss how this chaotic year has impacted their lives and how, despite the challenges of the pandemic, their family hopes to move forward stronger and more resilient. So let's welcome Evan and Julie.
Hello.
Hi, y'all.
Okay, let's do screen share, buddy.
All right, let's get this over with.
Okay, can you, let's
Come
do,
on, Dad.
hold on, buddy. Let's do, are we sharing our screen?
Yeah. Come on.
Okay,
Present. Yeah,
all right. You're better at this than I am.
of course I am.
Okay, buddy.
Hi, legislators. My name is Evan Messina, and so this is my presentation. Growing up is not as easy as it seems, and I have a big family. My parents work hard. They care for my family, for our education and financial needs. My dad works in medical software company, and my mom works in a foundation that works for people with disabilities. And I have two sisters. Michaela is 14 years old. She is a freshman in high school. She studies hard and plays sports. She's an average student with a little sass in the attitude.
Thanks, Evan. That's like you.
Maybe. But yeah. My other one is Marissa. She's 2 years old and she is a crazy lady. That one. Yes. And I'm the oldest. I'm 16 years old. Now that I'm 16, I can drink coffee.
Decaf only though.
Yes. And I am eligible to try for my driver's permit. And I can't wait for that.
I can definitely wait for that.
Maybe on a car, then yes.
Okay.
As you may have been told, I go to the Cambridge Underline School, and I am serving in the 10th grade. I have a lot of favorite classes, but I love media technology that takes photos and makes videos. This year, I'm taking a class called Music Video Production, which combines music and video. I get to make music online and also play different instruments, including the bass clarinet. I also play it for my school band, which is a Falcon concert band.
Thank you for sharing that, Evan. When I hear Evan play, I'm in such awe of what he has overcome to get to where he is. Because when he was born, I was told to lower my expectations because he had Down syndrome. Life would be difficult, learning would be hard, and there would be delays across the board. It's true that Evan has challenges. He has had various forms of therapy all of his young life, but we chose not to place the limit of low expectations on him. So in 4th grade, when he said he wanted to try the clarinet, we were hesitant, but we said, okay, let's give it a try. Now, reed instruments are hard to play, but this kiddo who has hearing and vision impairment and motor and hand-eye coordination issues is able to make beautiful music and bring so much joy to our family. Over the years, we've learned not to be surprised when Evan defies traditional expectations.
Thank you. For my first paid job, I was part of the Makers program last summer doing a virtual internship for the Cambridge Community Television, or CCTV. I was a content producer making videos about teen life. It was a great experience, and I wanted a prize for my family that I made for a video that I made. And this one here, she was really happy she did not have to do any cooking.
That's right, because his prize was a free pizza dinner.
Woo, woo.
When Evan was born, I was told he would probably have to depend on government benefits his whole life, as he would not be able to find a competitively paid job to support himself. In fact, there was no incentive to work and save, because if he had more than $2,000 in a bank account, he would be disqualified from government assistance. Expectations were so low. Thankfully, because of the recent passage of the ABLE Act, this changed. And because of youth employment programs like Cambridge's Mayor's Program and organizations like CCTV willing to take the chance to employ youth with disabilities, Evan experienced what most of you in this meeting have experienced, getting paid for a hard day's work and having the pleasure of being able to give back by treating someone to dinner.
Or too much,
Too much dinner?
maybe. But yeah, in the year of 2019, I received a summer space camp scholarship to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Alabama. I had a great time there, and I learned a lot about the future of Mars, which is the red planet. I hope to be the part of the red Mars generation. I hope to work in the media relations for the space industry, and taking photos, making videos about astronauts, rocket launches, and landings. I hope to be a part of the future, and I love it a lot.
As Evan was preparing to enter middle school, we were told that he would be placed in a substantially separate program because of the untraditional way he learned. While this setting might work for some students, we didn't think it was right for Evan. We agreed Evan needed extra help with English and math, but we advocated for partial inclusion, for him to spend part of his day with neurotypical kids because we wanted him to have the rich content exposure in general education. It was because of the variety of topics covered in general education science that Evan discovered his love for space and his love for rockets. He might not have discovered this passion in a more restrictive setting. Low expectations can be really limiting, and this bias can change the course of a life. My advice, take the risk with kids with disabilities. Michelangelo said, "Our greatest danger is not that we aim too high and miss it, but that we aim too low and we reach it."
Oh, wait. At the beginning of March of 2020, I was afraid of getting sick because I heard that some people who had got COVID had to go to the hospital because they needed a ventilator to breathe. My mom told me that we had to be extra careful because in some states we weren't sure if people like me will be able to get a ventilator. If I need a ventilator, I should be able to get one just like everyone else. That's why I wrote a letter to Governor Baker, informing him with people with intellectual disabilities that they are very important as well.
Mhm. When COVID first hit, this was an extremely stressful time for us. As the crisis standards of care were being developed in each state, we saw that in some states, there was clear deprioritization of people with intellectual disabilities. Thankfully, the federal government stepped in and ruled these standards discriminatory, forcing these states to revise their standards. Because of the work of the ARC and other advocacy organizations, Massachusetts standards have also been revised to provide greater protection to people with ID. While there's still more work to be done, our family is so grateful to the leadership of this amazing organization. The sad reality, though, is that bias and discrimination against people with ID existed even before COVID. 2/3 of pregnancies diagnosed prenatally with Down syndrome in the US are terminated, and in many European countries, this statistic is much higher. Where universal prenatal testing is offered, there is tremendous pressure to terminate a pregnancy if a positive result is received for Down syndrome. In Iceland, as many as 99% of pregnancies are aborted, and they have a stated goal of 100% termination as they want to completely eradicate Down syndrome. But just because we can screen for genetic abnormalities and remove the presence of a disability, should we? In our quest for perfection, should we decide who gets to live and whose lives are not worth living? Can we work instead to eradicate bias and discrimination and to welcome those that are differently abled? Dr. Brian Scottco, the director of the Down Syndrome Clinic at MGH, conducted a survey in which he asked hundreds of people with Down syndrome questions about their lives. 96% said they were happy with the way they looked, and 99% said they were happy with their lives. How many of you can say that about yourselves? Down syndrome has existed for all millennia, and we will never be able to get rid of it. Nor do I think it's in our best interest to do so, because disability is a natural part of the human condition. Perhaps Down syndrome is a gift to humanity. I believe Evan was given to our family for a reason. Because of him, I've received gifts of compassion, patience, and creativity. And these are certainly things our world needs more of.
Yes. I have a great life, and my life is definitely worth living. To conclude my presentation, I would like to share you a video of what I made for my class. Enjoy. Let's do this thing. That concludes it. Thank you
All
for
right.
all of your help and for all that you do for me and my family. I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy, let me figure out how to stop this screen share now. Or maybe you need help to do that.
Yep, that's all.
Thank you, Evan and Julie. That was
You're welcome.
so amazing. That was awesome. That video was incredible. You are so talented. From my family to, and all of our families, we thank you for all your hard work and determination and dedication to disability advocacy and empowering the disability community. As we've already mentioned, today's theme is equity in the face of uncertainty. Moving forward together, our community has faced enormous challenges this past year due to COVID-19, and we're grateful for the leadership of the legislature and the administration during this difficult time to quickly respond to many of our needs. We also want to look ahead to how we can move forward together to best serve all members of our community equitably. For instance, the ARC has an action alert to the governor and other state officials urging that all people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism, be immediately prioritized for the COVID-19 vaccine and to make reasonable accommodations when necessary to ensure people with disabilities and their caregivers who accompany them to vaccination sites have safe and equal access to the vaccine. This is so important for our families. After this event, we encourage you to reach out to your legislators and share your stories with them. Maura Sullivan, the ARC's Director of Government Affairs, will review the critical budget and legislative priorities, as well as how to best advocate to your legislator, particularly during a pandemic. And if you can reach out to your legislator or would like to promote the ARC's action alerts, share it on social media and tag the ARC, make a TikTok so we can all share it as well. The MDDC's legislative priorities will be available in April. The more people that know about the great work your legislators do, the better. Now, this is a great time because it's time to recognize the ARC Legislator of the Year, Senator Michael Rodrigues. We're very excited. We're excited to have Senate President Karen Spilka be with us for part of the presentation. She's a good friend of the ARC and the MDDC. Prior to her election as president, Senator Spilka served as the chair of Senate Ways and Means. She was named the first Senate chair of the Joint Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities when she entered the Senate in 2005 after serving 4 years in the House of Representatives. Senator Spilka has been a consistent and great leader on disability issues and received the Legislator of the Year award twice in 2007 and 2013. After Senator Spilka speaks, the ARC's Executive Director, Leo Sarkisian, will say a few words regarding Senator Rodrigues. So here we are, Senator Spilka.
Hi, I'm Senate President Karen Spilka. I want to offer a big thanks to the leadership teams of the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council and the ARC of Massachusetts. This is an incredible event every year that highlights and raises awareness around an issue that is deeply personal to me. As many of you know, my sister Susie lived with Down syndrome. Though she is no longer with us, her spirit and her lessons that she taught me about what it means to live a fully productive life are very much alive in the work that I do every single day in the Senate. The same dedication is true for my friend and colleague, Senator Michael Rodrigues, who understands deeply the value of inclusive access to opportunities for individuals with disabilities. So I am thrilled and honored to present this year's Legislator of the Year award to my friend and colleague, Senator Michael Rodrigues. It is no coincidence that he is receiving this award at a reception where equity in the face of uncertainty is the theme. From the outset of this pandemic, Senator Rodrigues has been a responsible steward of our state finances, ensuring adequate and equitable supports were included in this year's budget for those who need it the most, while keeping a close eye on the economic challenges brought on by COVID-19. Senator Rodrigues used his voice to advocate for expanded access to the state's inclusive concurrent enrollment initiative. The measure passed the Senate unanimously in July and would codify the initiative and enable students with intellectual disabilities, autism spectrum disorders, or other developmental disabilities to participate in higher education coursework and other programs. These are opportunities well-deserved, and the entire Commonwealth would be all the more stronger for it. Senator Rodrigues has also been my partner in advancing funding for critical mental health initiatives, now needed more than ever for all of us. So for all of these reasons and more, I want to thank Senator Rodrigues for staying undeterred in his efforts and for raising his voice on behalf of families and individuals living with disabilities across our Commonwealth. And to the Council and ARC of Massachusetts, thank you for your partnership in helping us all move forward together. Thank you for inviting me to speak, and congratulations to Senator Rodrigues and to all of the awardees. Thank you, and to everyone, stay healthy and be safe.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator President Spilka. And you've been such a friend and leader to us for decades. We appreciate you so much. And of course, I'm pleased to be able to say a few words before Senator Rodrigues accepts his award. I also want to say a shout out to Rep. Cutler and for the MDDC award and his work. And I also want to just thank you and the audience. We have a great turnout today, both in this Zoom session and on Facebook. So thank you for coming out there. And Lauren, what can I say? Thanks for joining us again being part of this wonderful event with the MDDC and the ARC. So our presentation, by the way, Senator, is by Mary Galgay, who is a person with a disability who attends the Gateway Arts Program hosted by VinFin. And it's an internationally acclaimed studio art center, and people with disabilities do some unbelievable work, as you recently commented on. So we're thrilled about being able to share that with you. I just also want to say a few words about you. What a friend you've been, both in the House and in the Senate. Your leadership during this COVID crisis, Senator Spilka said it well, big time. There were times when we thought we were going to go over the edge in terms of the safety net, and you were there for us. And I also want to comment just on your consistency around family support, Turning 22, Adult Omnibus, Autism Omnibus, and other supports, adult services at the Department of Developmental Services and Mass Health. You've been there for people with disabilities, and what a great day to welcome you, as the Senator said. Thank you for being such a champion. Welcome, and look forward to hearing you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Leo, and to you, and to Maura Sullivan, and to Charlie Fisk, and the amazing advocacy team that the ARC and MDDC have. It's a new world. Here we are in COVID. I mean, thank you so much for this beautiful painting. And as I said earlier, I can't wait when this is over to welcome you into my office, as we normally would meet and discuss the issues that are important to you. And you will see this painting hanging in a prominent spot. It's absolutely beautiful. To Senate President Spilka, thank you for your constant, consistent, steadfast leadership, absolutely through this COVID pandemic crisis, but even before. Always, 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 every time we talk about any issue, it's always through the lens of equity. And you have been and are just an amazing leader. Thank you. To Speaker Mariano, to my co-awardee Josh Cutler, to all my legislative colleagues that are on this call. It's an amazing number. I'm not going to stop naming you because I'm sure I'll forget many, because there are so many on this call. But this is just an example. It should be a symbol to everyone else on the call of how important the issues are that you all advocate for. As the Senate President said, to some of us, it is personal. And these issues to me are absolutely personal. Angela did an amazing job opening up the program in how to advocate for these issues and how to make sure that when you speak to a legislator, you express why and just how these issues are personal to you, because we want to hear that. I was just talking to my wife that for the last 26 years, this next Sunday, the first Sunday in March, I would be leading a ski trip up to New Hampshire with about 400 people as a fundraiser for Special Olympics, Massachusetts. We've raised over $70,000 for Special Olympics, but more so than just raising money is raising awareness. We partner with local high schools and their ski clubs. We have Special Olympic athletes at the mountain and on the individual buses. And those of us in the legislature, especially in the Senate, our dear friend who we all love, Melissa Riley, who works for Senator Eldridge. Melissa, who stands about 4'2" tall. And if you see her ski, you're not going to see her ski because she's like a bullet. Twice, Melissa represented and medaled in the World Special Olympics. Once in Seoul, South Korea, and once in Nagano, Japan. Imagine that. And she works in Senator Eldridge's office. And again, this pandemic that's pretty much shut down the State House, I so much miss seeing Melissa in the hallways or in the chamber, Senate chamber, because she just brightens up your day every time you see her. So, and again, a thank you and a shout out to all my colleagues, to Maura and to Leo, and to Charlie, and to everyone that advocates, whether it's Nikki's Law, inclusive concurrent enrollment, fully and adequately funding DDS's line items and sub-line items and programs. we have been and we will continue to be there for you. Let me just say to Josh Cutler and to Leo, you look good. You guys put ties on. I didn't put a tie on this morning, but keep up the good work. And God bless everybody. And thank you so much for this recognition, for this painting. And again, I just can't wait for this pandemic to be over. The vaccines are coming. Also, let me give a shout out to Secretary Sutters. As Senate President Spilka, my first term in the state Senate, I chaired the Committee on Children and Families and Persons with Disabilities. And I got to know Mary Lou as an advocate at that time. And we have become very, very close friends. Thank you, Mary Lou, for all you're doing throughout this pandemic. It's not easy. Everyone's got a better idea. Everyone thinks they can do it better. There's no playbook for this. You're doing a great job leading the Commonwealth through this crisis, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone, and God bless. And here we go. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I agree with you, Senator Rodrigues, about Melissa. I miss seeing her too. She's amazing. So congratulations again to Senator Rodrigues. That was great. And now it's a time to award our second Legislator of the Year, Representative Josh Cutler. We're pleased to have Speaker of the House Ronald Mariano up with us this year. Representative Mariano received the ARC's Legislator of the Year award in 2016 in recognition of his support of the disability community. And after many years in leadership roles in the House of Representatives, he was elected by his peers as Speaker of the House in January. Speaker Mariano will introduce Representative Cutler, and after Speaker Mariano speaks, MDDC's Angela Ortiz will say a few words regarding Representative Cutler. Now let's hear from Speaker Mariano.
Hi, I'm Ron Mariano. I'm honored to be here today virtually on the 43rd Annual Legislative Reception. I want to thank the Massachusetts Developmental Disabilities Council in the ARC of Massachusetts for continuing to host this annual event. In normal times, I would be presenting the Legislator of the Year award in person at the State House. But COVID-19 has made us reimagine the way we do these events. It also shed light on the importance of our collective work and advocacy. Although gains have been made due to the incredible work of folks and families like yourselves, we continue to work hard to help ensure individuals with disabilities are given opportunities to lead healthy and fulfilling lives. That's why we get together to recognize March as Developmental and Intellectual Disabilities Awareness Month. As Vice Chairman of the Joint Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities, Representative Josh Cutler worked tirelessly to promote opportunities for persons with disabilities and remove barriers for employment. I especially want to congratulate him on the passage of the PANS bill, which created a council on the disease and requires insurance companies to pay for treatment. He made sure the rights of people with disabilities are front and center in order to protect them. Representative Cutler brought that lens and intentional focus to every major bill that came through the floor, including transportation and police reform. I am confident that Chairman Cutler will bring the same dedication to his new role as chair of the Committee on Labor and Workforce Development. He will remain a strong and informed voice for the disability community in all matters that come through the committee. Issues such as removing barriers to employment and discrimination at the workplace. On behalf of the Mass Developmental Disabilities Council, I am honored to present the Legislator of the Year award to Representative Josh Cutler. We thank you for your service to your district and to the Commonwealth, and congratulate you on this deserved award.
Thank you so much, Speaker Mariano. We appreciate your leadership and commitment to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. So another, on behalf of the Massachusetts Developmental Disability Council, it is my honor to introduce our 2021 Legislator of the Year awardee, Representative Josh Cutler of the 6th Plymouth District, representing towns of Pembroke, Duxbury, and Hanson. In recognition of his many contributions, Rep. Cutler was presented with a painting by Juvenia Nicodemos, who is also, she's a member of this community and is an artist with the Gateway Arts Program. Representative Cutler is certainly no stranger to the disability community. He served as the chair on the Workability Legislative Subcommittee, bringing together key stakeholders to gather input that would lead to removing barriers and promoting disability hiring practices in the Commonwealth. Representative Cutler was recently named chair on the Joint Committee on Labor and Workforce Development. He continues to be a tireless voice on Beacon Hill on behalf of people with disabilities and their families. He was the clear choice for the Council's Legislator of the Year. Congratulations, Rep. Cutler, for this well-deserved honor.
Great, thank you so much, Angela. I very much appreciate those kind words. Thank you to everyone at the MDDC, Angela, Dan, and Kristen, for all the great work that you do. I know we relied on you so much last term when we were doing our work, and moving forward, just so appreciative of everything that you do for the IDD community and for the Commonwealth. So thank you. I want to thank Speaker Mariano. It's funny, when I was just a younger man, just out of college, I first met Representative Mariano, and was so impressed with him then, the time that he took to mentor young people and the active role that he played. And I'm so delighted that now, so many years forward, I don't want to age him, but so many years forward, he's now our speaker. So delighted to work with him. Somehow I ended up with the gray hair and he looks great, but so what? It's tremendous, and really pleased to have Speaker Mariano leading the House. We have a great team here. You know, the award, I guess the award is for me, but this is really a team sport. I'm a big believer in that. And I want to thank all my colleagues. I know a number of folks are watching here, especially my colleagues in the House. I just wanted to mention a couple of folks who've been really helpful to our work together. First off, Chair Michael Witz has been such a staunch supporter of everything. All of our work with the Workability Commission and helping IDD folks. We're really grateful to have him, along with Chairwoman Garlick, Representative Kay Khan, who was so kind to me and helpful as we worked on these issues last term as the chair. Also want to welcome our new House Chair, Mike Finn. So we really have a great team in the House, and I'm just a small player in this, and happy to work with our great team to advance these causes. Wanted to give a shout out to a great former House member, Senator Rodrigues, who's a great partner over in the Senate. Want to congratulate you on your great work and your award. So that was very richly deserved. And I have to echo, I miss seeing Melissa as well, even though she's in the Senate. I often see Melissa, and I hear from her on Facebook on a regular basis, and but I do miss seeing her around the building. I want to mention the ARC, you know, how important. I can tell you just, I can still remember my first term going to a local event at my local senior center that was put on by our regional ARC. And that had an impact on me, and really something that stuck with me all these years. And is one of the reasons why I, you know, wanted to get more involved in these issues. So, you know, the work that you are doing, the MDDC and the ARC and other stakeholders, the work that you're doing is very important. And don't forget for an instant that it has an impact on us as legislators as well. And these are things that, you know, we carry with us because of the work that you are doing. I hope that Evan can teach me some clarinet lessons, because he was fantastic. I don't have a whole lot of musical ability, but he certainly does. And that was a great presentation. Thank you, Lauren, as MC. Evan, that was fantastic. The background here, because some people ask me, is the painting that I received by, I believe it's called Untitled. It's acrylic on canvas by Mary Gallier, according to the back. And it's really proud to have this. And I can't look forward to when I can hang it up in my office and actually see it in person. But for now, it'll have to be my background. But so I'm very appreciative of that. And just wanted to say, in closing, we did a lot of work. We had a great group, our workability subcommittee last term. I know some of our members are here with us today, looking at issues specifically around employment and hiring practices and how we can remove barriers to employment. And I was heartened to hear, from talking and from our work in talking to businesses, and to the extent to which many of them understand that hiring people with disabilities is not just the right thing to do, it makes business sense. It's a smart thing to do. And I think that's the message that we need to make sure we spread and evangelize to the entire Commonwealth. And that's why I'm so, really delighted and pleased that the speaker has appointed me, along with my House colleagues, to chair the Labor and Workforce Development Committee. It's a perfect kind of segue into what we were doing last term to continue on our work with workforce development for people with disabilities. I'm really looking forward to continuing the work in that role, and we're always going to have an open ear and open access on these issues in my role. And I'm just really delighted to be here, and thank you all for the kind words, much too kind, and for all the great work that you're doing. Look forward to continuing that work together. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cutler. That is a rock and Zoom background. I think you should just keep it. It's really awesome. And Senator Rodrigues, for all the work that you've done for the disability community. I know it just makes me sleep better at night, knowing that you guys are out there and that all the advocacy is welcomed by you guys. Congratulations again, really, really wonderful work. And now Maura Sullivan will join us and share the virtual call to action. Maura is the Director of Government Affairs and Operation House Call for the ARC. She leads the ARC's advocacy efforts at the State House. She's always around the State House, and the pandemic has not stopped Maura in her team's work. Maura has a special passion for advocating for equity and access to healthcare, as well as family supports for people with disabilities. And she is the proud mother of 3, including 2 teenagers on the autism spectrum. I got to tell you, thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm honored every year to be part of this remarkable community. Thank you for putting up with my computer glitch in the beginning. I apologize. I'm going to blame Brian Bell, our producer. But I hope you have a great and productive day today with your legislators. And so here you go, Maura.
Good morning, and thank you so much, Lauren. I love having you as our go-to MC every year, and you're just like family. So what an incredible event today to be a part of. Before I jump into the call to action, I just wanted to acknowledge what we've all been going through this year, and acknowledge especially those who have suffered and those who have lost. Folks, we have certainly proven our courage and strength, even to ourselves this year. Did we ever think we could survive this kind of crisis? But we are, and we know that we have the strength not only to rebound, but to move the needle on equity for IDD. So I'm going to share my screen and share a memory. Let's see. It's moving. You see that? Hold on, it's being slow. Yikes. Slideshow, come on, we don't have time. From the beginning, let's go. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it at that because it's not showing. Resume slideshow, hold on. Yep, so slideshow issues here, guys. There we go. All right, here we go. All right, so the call to action this year is actually so much more critical than any of us ever would have imagined last year when we crammed into the Great Hall of Flags with our biggest numbers ever. And this was just a week before the shutdown. This year, we need to fight for equity, and we need to pull ourselves up and out of this crisis. We start by making sure each and every one of us is safe from the virus, which means vaccine eligibility, prioritization, accessibility, and continued testing, as well as working with our hospitals to ensure appropriate supports during times of illness. And it means addressing our state budget. So families take care of 70% of people with disabilities. Let's get them the funding and the flexibility they need to use it. They have been doing it all 24/7 with incredible resilience, but indeed exhaustion. Let's also open up our day programs safely and allow them to prepare for greater numbers as people become vaccinated and return in increasing capacity. Funding needs to allow for the adaptations of our day programs because of what we've learned through COVID-19. And we can't go back to normal lives without secure transportation. The need for more community-based services and employment opportunities, and there will be no transformation without that transportation. So please bring these issues to your legislators now. They are meeting with their leadership now. Ask them to make our priorities their priorities. Our ask is $15 million over House 1 for day and work programs, $7 million for transportation, and $7 million more in family support and respite, with $3 million of that going directly to families with no red tape. And now none of these line items will be effective without our workforce. So we must continue to push for better rates for DSPs. The future of our loved ones is dependent on a stronger workforce. So follow our workforce campaign this year. And lastly, get behind our bill priorities. For this session, there are 18 transformative pieces of legislation. There's training for the medical community, sponsored by Rep. Garbely and Senator Lewis. There's expansion of Nikki's Law, Dana's Law, sponsored by Senator Moore. Today is actually the anniversary of the signing of that bill. Talk to your legislators about these priorities and these bills that are most important to you. Legislators, please co-sponsor. Get ready to write your testimony, because you know I'll be bugging you with requests. But seriously, we promise to give you the tools that you need to do this kind of difficult advocacy. You have our fact sheets, you have our bill platform, you have our links to the Take Action alerts. Stay connected to us and the MDDC and make those important connections to your lawmakers. So how do you start? Well, first, a tip from our wonderful chair, Denise Garlick, is to make sure each and every person in your household is registered to vote, because your legislators know if you're a voting constituent. And take advantage of this time when meetings with your rep and senators and their staff is actually pretty convenient. Make relationships with your legislator a two-way street. Where can they use your help? Where do you align outside of disability supports? And how can you engage your own family and friends to educate your senators and reps about the need to fight for our community? There's power in numbers. And they truly do have to fight. There are so many priorities in front of this legislative body. To the reps and senators, we know that you and your leadership have a big job to secure funding for our community. But that's okay, because our job, our community has a much bigger job. We have to change the world. And equity is an uphill battle all the way. So you do your job and we'll do our job and we'll get there together. So I want to say thank you to Ellen Taverna and the ARC team, to the MDDC team for making today happen. It's an honor to work with all of you. Thanks to Leo and Dan and Angela and Lauren, and to our wonderful keynote, Evan and Julie, and of course to our champions, the Honorable Legislators of the Year, Rep. Cutler and Senator Rodrigues, and to all the legislators and attendees. May everybody stay safe and well. And one last thank you to this huge group of sponsors for today. So, stop my share. Remember, to reach out, do your next steps, and reach out to us with any questions. Thank you for coming to the 43rd Annual Legislative Reception.
I'm just gonna, like, as the MC, I'm saying, I think that's a wrap, right?
That's a wrap. Thank you, everybody.
All right, this is what we do in the biz. Now go call everybody and talk to them and advocate. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
to Carlos, too, as our Spanish translator and our ASL interpreters, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren, for getting us moving.
All right,
and say hi to David and your lovely daughter, too.
I will. And hello to everyone too. All right, we'll see you next year, okay? Bye.
Thank you.